Hello everyone, my name is FlareBlitzed here and welcome to Chaos Child, a visual novel with dark elements including earthquakes, many faces, many eyes, and however you want to call it. I would have actually had this game out on my channel a week earlier, also known as the day after the release of this game in the West, but unfortunately, well, some things have happened and I'll explain that at the end of the video. But let's get into this and see what we are dealing with in this sort of murder mystery investigative person, paranormal, however you want to pronounce it. I don't know. So yeah, Chaos Child, like Steins is a visual novel made by PQube. And yeah, this story is a work of fiction with no relationship to real persons, places, or groups. So goals there. Mages. 5 PB. You see exactly the same screens as you see on Steins Gate 0 if you play that visual novel as well. Welcome to Chaos World. What a horrific noise, honestly. Really nice though. I have no idea about the symbolism or the identity behind these faces. Yeah, I think this game was originally released in Japan in 2014-15 on the PS4 Vita, and then 2 years later we now have it in the West. And it was also originally made in 2008 for only the West on previous consoles. Press X to start, most certainly. New game, continue, extra. I believe we'll unlock that once we finish the game, but unfortunately for me, I'm only going to be doing one episode of this because that's all that PQube will allow. Config, which is like options, I would believe. Okay, so tip information on, yep, tip, text message skip, no, we won't want that, and we don't want that. Select delusion trigger, skip release at delusion trigger, I think that's okay. Message speed, auto mode speed. Auto mode is in the case of just skipping through a whole lot of dialogue if you've noticed it already. And the volume, stuff like that. Voices or volume, yeah. We've got some other characters as well within the game which we're going to encounter. Generic man, woman voice down at the bottom. We've got 7 other main characters. And we've got Turuku and Sharika. Yeah, please put down in the comments below if I mispronounce any of his names, because I'm not very good at pronouncing Japanese names. Okay. November 6th, 2009 AD at 10:28 PM, also known as 22:28. It came without warning, and the only part I know is there's an earthquake in this game, and that's how these murders came about. So where exactly are we, in terms of geographical wise? So is that what caused the earthquake, maybe? Yeah. It was not exactly a natural earthquake. It was a magnitude 7.8 earthquake, with an epicenter directly under the city. Or maybe it was. This disaster reduced one of Tokyo's busiest downtown areas to nothing in a single night. Oh my gosh. The high-rise buildings that have birthed so many trends and fades collapsed. As if giving up on their role in society, black fires spread through the city as individuals fell into the grip of the crowd's psychology. Their terror is magnified. Combined, all of these things took many lives. When I originally read that this was going to be a darker visual novel than Steins Gate, it would have to be a hell of a lot to be darker, because, let's face it, spoiler alert here, how could it be darker than an apocalyptic dystopian future with nothing but dust in the sky due to the animosity of the human mind? The final death toll was 3,851. The final number of injured, 30,927. This event would later be known as the Shibuya earthquake. Wow. Even in all that destruction, people still suffered the most in their hearts. Some who had lost their families came together to share new resolve, while others who had been forced to watch their friends die were driven by guilt to take their own lives. Ouch. As a baby was miraculously reunited with its parents after 72 hours, a child in an evacuation shelter asked her dad, "When's Mummy coming back?" He had no answer. Some of the wounded made it to hospitals by looking at real-time updates on the web. Others saw people on the internet talking about the disaster as if it was a movie, and were driven mad. That's not helpful, actually. A homeless man was saved from malnourishment by an organised volunteer group, but at the same time, a middle school boy punched a self-centered volunteer who'd come to Shibuya to find himself in the face. It was the first time in that boy's life he'd ever been violent. Oh my gosh. The psychology toll was incredible, and many of the survivors would later manifest symptoms similar to those associated with PTSD. The young were hit the hardest, and before long the cause of those symptoms was given a name: Chaos Child Syndrome. Rebuilding happened at a flourished pitch never seen before. It felt inappropriate to say, "Hey there," but people felt that somebody had to do something. The new slogan was Shibuya, a city reborn, and no amount of money or manpower was spared in aiding the endeavour. The whole town was in the grip of a fever. In private, a leader of a redevelopment effort said, "They may sound unkind, but this frenzy feels like a town burying its grief by holding a festival." Building codes were rigorously evacuated with an eye toward earthquake engineering, perhaps in an effort to empathize with the city's safety. Security cameras were put up all over town. Shibuya would become a place where everyone could live in peace. Okay, that's the log. This is what I wanted. I just wanted to... so we have 48 different save files. Excellent. Put our mark there. Chapter 1, Digital Native. Okay. So I'm going to go up to 90 minutes of playing this game. But at the same time, a rumor began to spread about the earthquake. Something about this earthquake doesn't make sense. There were no aftershocks, and the damage held spread in a strange way. Harajuku and Abisso, areas only a kilometer away from Shibuya, suffered fewer casualties and even fewer collapsed buildings. This damage pattern had never been observed in any prior earthquake, and so more than a few pundits claimed the Shibuya earthquake must have been artificial. That's what I was thinking. Somebody did this on purpose. More than anything, some of the survivors all said the same thing. "I saw a white light. I heard a sound like a ringing in my ears." Too many people experienced this for anyone to laugh it off, but no cause of this phenomenon was ever found. It was just more evidence to those who believed that something about the earthquake had been wrong. Then, 6 years after the strange earthquake, in 2015, something else was about to attract attention in the reborn city of Shibuya. Darkness. Some sort of chaos. But what does a chaos child look like? September the 7th, 2015, Sunday night.
はい。ではいつも通り3分くらい募集をかけるんで適当によろです。
Okay, I'm going to take 3 minutes for questions. Got it? The second he spoke, the comment box started to fill. Yuma Otoni watched it for a few seconds and then saw the request. When does Haru tell us she's dating somebody? He smiled to himself. Just what he wanted. Most of the requests were about hot actors or cute idols. His audience was so stupid it was easy to tell exactly what they were going to ask. The problem was always whether the name that came up with someone he knew. That was a question of luck and of how popular they were. But Haru, her full name was Haruko, something or other, she was fine. Just a few days ago he forced himself to go to an event he'd rather have skipped and seen it for himself.
Yes.
Okay. Satisfied, Otani got up to get some snacks, like he always did. He lived in a one-bedroom condo located 8 minutes from Shibuya station. Cost 150,000 yen per month. It had been built after the earthquake, so the furnishings and layouts were modern. A little more room would have been nice, but compared to the 40,000 yen per month place he'd lived in last year, it was heaven.
来年にはもうちょっと便利なところに引っ越すか。
Next year I'll move somewhere more convenient. At 21 years old, Otoni felt satisfied for the first time in his life. In 4th grade, he'd gotten big into online gaming and stopped going to school. Kind of like me, but apart from I still went to school. Eventually, he stopped leaving his room altogether. Oh my gosh, I shut in. Then he got addicted to drugs that made him sleepy, but did nothing else. Once, seeing only darkness in his future, he planned to commit suicide. In the chaos after the earthquake 6 years ago, he'd finally managed to leave his room, but his family had already given up on him. After he failed his entrance exams, he went to live on his own in Shibuya, and he hadn't spoken to his parents since. As far as they know, he'd failed the exam 3 times in a row. In fact, he hadn't even gone to the tests after the first time. There wasn't anything he wanted to learn in college, or any companies he wanted to work for badly enough. He had no goal in life after all, at all. But things were different now.
アットちゃんにもたまには本当のことが書かれてるもんだ。チーズでいいか。
Maybe At-chan does tell the truth sometimes. Guess I'll have some cheese. He took a block of cheap cheese he bought at the supermarket out of the fridge. Usually he never ate anything this cheap. Wow. But on the live streaming, it wasn't just what you said. How you looked when you said it is also mattered. How you say it. Otani wasn't a good-looking man, let alone a cute girl. He was just a plain old guy, and so to keep this program popular, he needs to make them think that he was poor, barely managing to scrape by in fact. Ouch. That's why he kept the area around his PC and the parts of his apartment that he could see with his webcam completely plain. Last month, he finally reached his goal of 4,000 viewers. For a man with nothing going for him like a toonie, this was extremely unusual. 3 months ago, he'd guessed the winners of the popularity contest a certain idol group was holding, as well as their total number of votes. That must have really paid off. After that, his numbers have been going up steadily. Late last month, when his streams had appeared at the top of Nikiwaya's page, he'd seen a huge increase. Right now he'd gotten above 4,500, and it was quite possible he'd break 5,000 by the end of the month. It was around late last year when he started to wonder about his power. It was a certain rumor on one of Achan's occult boards that made him really start to realize what he had. The man he'd chosen for his stream subtly reflected this. Then I learned that I could see the future. He took a knife to cut the cheese. And then the door knocked. Stairs. There was a strange sound.
Huh?
He thought he'd just imagine it when... Door knocking. Knock, 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 knock. He heard it again. It was coming from the door. Someone was clearly knocking on his door.
Huh? Mitsurin ka?
Jungle? Maybe? Suspicious, he walked toward the door to answer, then checked the clock. It was 23:41. Not exactly normal delivery hours.
なんだよ。つか、生放送中だっつうの。
Oh, come on, I'm streaming right now. He tried to ignore it, but the knocking kept persisting. The knocking continued. It was the same rhyme, at the same pace, rhythm, as if the visitor's goal wasn't to come inside, but simply to make that sound. You're gonna have to answer it. Tony felt a bit creeped out. He decided to go to the intercom camera to see who it was, but then realized that would be pointless. Only the auto-locking door on the first floor had a camera. The door to Otoni's room on the 5th floor had an intercom, but no camera. Otoni gave up. Damn it.
用ならインターホン押せよ。
Damn it. If you want something, push the intercom button. Making his way to the door. And the knocking continues.
酔っ払いか?
Maybe it's a drunk? No, the knocks were too steady. Yeah, a drunk would probably be knocking too rapidly. And there was no voice yelling at him to open up. Who could this be knocking on my door? He'd seen this door a million times, but suddenly it looked somehow different. Someone he didn't know was on the other side of the wall, demanding entry in the middle of the night. Somehow this made the door seem intimidating. Atani thought he might look through the peephole to see who was outside. He was very disgusted to find himself too scared to even get close to the door. Wait, the intercom didn't have a camera, but it did have a microphone. He turned toward the living room so he could use the intercom and find out what they wanted. Oh, Tony, it's me. Sorry to come by so suddenly. Otani. Otani sounds better since Gone. He stopped when he heard the voice. Who could it be? It's me. I'm very sorry to bother you at this hour. Otani tried to remember who the speaker was, but found he couldn't. But from the tone of the voice and the words, they probably weren't a weirdo. When they said I'm sorry, it sounded like they really meant it. Otani sighed softly with relief, and then realized he was still carrying the knife he had been using to cut cheese. Probably not a good idea. It suddenly felt stupid to feel so nervous. He quickly laid the knife on top of the sink.
はいはい、今開けます。どちら様ですか?
Right, I'll open it now. Who is it? Who is it? It's me. Don't you remember? The voice simply repeated itself. But who are you? Otani whispered to himself as he opened the door. Who could it be? Otani narrowed his eyebrows at the people standing there. He looked them up and down and then looked at their faces again. Their eyes meet.
あんたら、どこのどなた?
Who are you guys? Otani suddenly felt a piercing headache. eye. Otani closed his eyes and put his right hand up to his temple. He could feel the blood pumping in his veins through his fingers. He staggered and quickly put his other hand against the wall to keep from falling over. The pain was like the old days, when he overdosed on antidepressants, but much more intense. He grit his teeth again with pain, and dug his nails into the wall that was holding him up. As he waited for the pain in his fingers to help dull the pain in his mind. That kind of vision must bloody hurt. Mr. Otani, are you okay? He heard a voice he heard many times before, and felt a concerned hand on his shoulder. He somehow managed to ignore the pain and open his eyes. A worried face was peering down at him. But yeah, I'm fine. This just happens sometimes lately. Overwork, perhaps? You've been so busy lately. You shouldn't push yourself too hard. You're always such a worrier. I'm fine. Come in. He opened his mouth as wide as he could and mourned, trying to ease the pain as he let his important guests inside. As he turned his back on the guests, he told himself that it had been a long time since he'd seen them. Or maybe not. It couldn't have been more than 2 months since they last met. It only felt long because he wanted to see them so badly.
Oh
right, it was nice of you to come by, but I'm streaming. While he was out here, he decided he would cut some cheese for himself and his guests. Oh, don't worry about us.
Yeah, no,
I can't do that to you guys. What's wrong?
Yeah,
No, it's nothing. The blade wasn't cutting into the cheese. That's strange, he told himself as he pushed down with more No, don't push down. He cut into its surface, and it made an unpleasant sound he'd never heard before. But no matter how hard he pushed, it wouldn't go further. Did you just cut your own finger? Confused, he yanked the knife back and forth like a saw, but only cutting slightly deeper. It was as if there was something hard inside the cheese, and even though he'd only just taken it out of the fridge, it was slightly warm? Gosh, what is in the cheese? Or what's been hiding in the cheese? Irritated, he slammed the handle of the knife against the cheese, but all it did was bash it in a little. He couldn't cut through it. God damn it! I'll help you. His guests must have heard the sound because they rushed over. They had another knife. When did they get that out? There's a trick to cutting this thing. They put the knife up against the cheese and began to move it with a practiced hand. It sounds like your work is going well. They smiled at Otani, their voices slightly lowered. Otani realized that they were trying to keep their voices from being picked up by the streaming microphone, and lowered his voice as well. Yeah. Sounds very mysterious. I wonder who these people are. He grinned and nodded. His guests had introduced him to a firm that handled advertising space for popular websites, which was giving him regular work. His reputation has quietly spread throughout the small web advertising industry, and soon he was getting more and more offers. This job's all about predicting trends, so it's perfect for me. I can't lose. Then why do these streams? It's hard to say, I guess. You could say I'm trying to see how far I can go. That's right. His power wasn't meant to be wasted on jobs that anyone can do.
誰も経験したことないから誰かに聞くってわけにいかないだろ。だから自分でやれるだけやってみたいっつうかってかっこよすぎかこれは。
No one's done this before, so I can't ask anybody about it, you know. So I want to do everything I can by myself. Or am I sounding like a show-off? You sound like you're not very well at cooperating with others. Okay. Good for that. I love the layout of that. It's so simplistic but so nice. No, it's wonderful, I think. And done. After he smacked it a few times, the cheese was a little funny looking, but the even slices were lined up neatly on the plate.
悪いな働かせて。
Sorry to make you help like that. It's nothing. Go on. I'll wait until your stream is finished.
ああ、冷蔵庫の中適当に見繕ってくれていいから。ああ、静かにな。
Thanks, but if you want something from the fridge, grab it. Oh, but be quiet. Otani took his cheese back to his seat and saw a flood of comments reading, "He's late and did he log off?" What should have only been 3 minutes had turned into more than 15. Eek. Otani put a bite of the cheese in his mouth and began to chew loudly.
申し訳ない。この安売りセールしていたチーズがありえないくらい硬くて。
I'm so sorry, I bought this cheese on sale and it's just so incredibly hard. He apologised to the camera, remembering to keep up the act of being poor and starving. And as he hoped, the comments started coming in. A lot of them. In Japanese. I think one of them is a bit of a shout. The top one in particular. Otani's face took on a confused expression. The comments were strange. He thought there might be something on the camera, but he turned around and only saw his fake poor room.
どうしました?
Is something wrong? He spoke into the camera, but the comments still didn't make any sense, and they were coming in faster. Maybe there was a problem with the camera. He reached his right hand out toward it. And in an instant, his headache was back. And what is it this time? It was the same pain as before. No, worse. He closed his eyes and jerked forward, banging his head against the desk. But the pain in his head was so bad that he didn't even feel it. He tried to hold his head in his hands, but for some reason, his right hand wouldn't move. So instead, he pushed his other hand up against his temple. It felt squishy. The vein was incredibly swollen and it felt like rubber. And each time he felt his blood pulse through it, there was an unpleasant sensation in his fingers. Gosh, what kind of symptoms does this guy have? Unless if it was this Chaos Child syndrome. He stamped his feet against the floor, hoping to find some small escape from the pain. But it didn't even get slightly better. It was then that he realised he was crying. He could feel the tears coming from his eyes. The pain was moving there now too. Unable to bear it, he opened his eyes. And... oh my, look at his eyes. He gasped. He's drobbling as well. The whole scene appeared in front of him like some kind of awful magic trick. What's going on? He suddenly heard the sound of something wet dripping onto the floor. His eyes reflectively turned towards it. His right arm was gone and at the elbow, and the stump was gushing blood. There was a pool of it on the floor, and the sound he heard was the news blood splattering into it.
Huh?
So basically he cut his own arm off. Otani didn't understand what had happened to him. What's going on? He just gone to check on the knock at the door. The pain screamed within him. Any sense of pain in what remained of his right arm was overcome by the pain in his head. He felt nothing from his arm at all, though he saw the blood dripping to the floor. What the hell was going on? He blinked and forced his aching eyes to function as he looked around the room. On top of his desk, he found the rest of his arm. It was sitting on a plate. At first it looked like it was still in one piece, but it wasn't. It was neatly sliced into uniform pieces. Each piece was about a centimeter wide, and the slices moved neatly towards his finger. They sat upon the plate in roughly his arm's original shape. Miraculously, he saw there was no blood on the tip of his index finger. He still didn't understand that it was really his own arm. I knew that was going to be the case, for goodness sakes. But sheer disgust at what he saw caused him to leap out of his chair. What was this? What kind of prank was this? And it sounds like he was sick. Ugh, the contents of his stomach flooded into his mouth. He vomited. The pink fluid splashed against his desk, whatever. I'm not 100% sure what the hell's going on here. He saw something solid in the middle of it. It was a thumb. It was covered in bite marks, saliva, and stomach acid, but horribly he remembered it. What? When he had put that into his mouth, in his pain-filled mind, he suddenly heard a sound he'd never heard before. Each time he heard the sound, the pain in his head got worse. He turned towards the camera, hoping for an answer to what was happening. But of course, there was none to be found. The screen was still filling with comments, but his eyes were too filled with tears for him to read them. Oh my. As the whole world turned red, Otani didn't even realize that his lips were turning purple. His lips had turned purple from lack of oxygen, but were stained red with blood from his severed thumb, which he had chewed himself. As he tried to fight the pain, he began to fall unconscious, and tears fell from his eyes. The tears seemed pink to him. Otani was weeping blood. He died still facing the camera. His guests watched the chain of events unfold, then silently headed for the door. Just before they left the room, goodbye, they said as if nothing at all was wrong, and shut the door. Lots of comments. September the 19th, 2015, Friday night. Momone had finished her concert. Like always, she stayed behind to help put away the instruments. She even helped clean up the audience seats, even though that was the concert hall job. Only after all of that was done could she take a break. There wasn't much time left before her solo street concert, but she still had to help anyway. She had always been like that. Even if it wasn't her responsibility, she couldn't help but get involved. It was like in middle school when one of her friends who wasn't as good at studying asked her for test notes. Or in high school when a girl she knew asked her how to make Valentine's chocolate for a boy she really liked. She'd stay up so many nights her own test grades were worse than her friends, and she didn't have even anyone to give chocolate to on Valentine's Day. In the end, it was the other person's responsibility, not hers. But
要はヘタレなんだろうな。
basically, I'm just a huge wuss. Momone was at heart scared of not doing everything she could, even if everything wasn't her responsibility. The concert today was another big success. Sure, it was a tiny room that could only fit in 150 people or so. Standing room only, but tickets were 3,000 yen, high for a band with an amateur vocalist like her, and they still sold out instantly. It was bizarre how excited the crowd was. She'd heard sobs during the ballet, and during one of the high-tempo songs, the audience had stood up all the way to the back row.
ありえない。
This is impossible. She felt chill and hugged herself tightly. It's not that her band wasn't popular. They started in the Seinet category and had kept going by doing covers of popular anime songs. It helped that her face, which had earned her the nickname Scarecrow in school, could look really good when she wore makeup. And if all of them put on ridiculous costumes and acted like idiots, some people would enjoy that. Videos of their concerts and performances pulled a decent number of views online. But Takayaki noticed the vast majority of the people looking at the videos were people who came to her concerts. People who experienced that insane intensity were going back to the videos to try and feel it again. And Momone knew that they probably wouldn't feel even 1% of it.
ありえないよ。
It's just impossible. The ticket prices and audience sizes were one thing, but the strangest thing to her was their eyes. Their eyes pierced right through her, unblinking. They were like pets, totally dependent on their master. The meaning of the lyrics began to take over their lives, and they never even questioned it.
やっぱり私の声はおかしいんだ。
There has to be something wrong with my voice. When she first realized that this was happening, she tried to quit the band. Even if she couldn't, she at least wanted to stop doing the live shows, where people heard her directly. But the others around her wouldn't let that happen. Your voice is amazing, they would tell her. They forced her to keep singing, even as the concerts began to terrify her. Momone tried to get out of it, but in the end she kept giving in. She owed her fellow band members for getting a plain dull girl like her into music, and for a while part of her managed to have fun. But in the end, Momone lacked the tiny bit of courage needed to break out of the cycle. Cycle is a word I've heard many times in Steins Gate, or a buzzword for describing many times you go through the same thing over and over again. She forced herself to get up and head toward the street concert, which she didn't really want to do. And then she received an email. She read it slowly.
そう。
No way. She almost dropped her smartphone. She read it again and again, trying to control her shaking hands. It was nothing special, just a simple message about one of the songs she made. Good song, keep it up. No way. Momone tried to stop the tears but couldn't. The band would get too many messages like this to count, especially after concerts. She knew it was rude, but to be honest, she was sick of them. with this email address wasn't for her band. It was one for a site where she had anonymously uploaded original songs. In other words, whoever sent this message hadn't come to her concerts. They never heard her voice live or felt its strange power, but they had still said they liked her song.
マジですか?
Really? Wiping away tears that wouldn't stop, she quickly wrote a response. That makes me really happy. Thank you. Even after she sent it, she kept crying for a while. She hadn't cried this much since the earthquake, and then she stood up.
こんなもん!
Stupid things. She took her costumes for the day's concerts out of her bag, balled them up, and threw them in the trash. It was a white caped outfit, worn by some angel character in some anime. Certain fans really loved it, but she didn't care about it at all. She took a wet towel off a nearby table and violently wrapped away her makeup.
こけしで上等立ってんの?
I think I'm okay with being a scarecrow. She was never wearing another cape or putting on makeup to look like an anime character again. Never, she said aloud. She realized she was more excited than she'd ever been before. And then she started to realize what she wanted to do.
いっそのこと渋谷を離れるってのもありか。どうせいろいろゴタゴタしちゃうんだろうし。
I guess I could just leave Shibuya. I'm sure things are going to get messy here. What would happen if she said she was going to quit the band? It'd cause trouble for a lot of people, definitely. Her band was scheduled to play in the Restoration Festival. But even so, she never wanted to sing at another concert.
いつもストリートライブをやってる道は常連さんと勝ち合っちゃまずいから避けて。大丈夫か、この顔だし。
I shouldn't use the streets where I've done shows, or my fans would see me. Wait, I'll be fine with this space. She laughed and kissed her smartphone.
やばい。楽しい。
Oh wow, this is so much fun. She couldn't wait to get home and start fiddling with her music. Over the web she could really share her music with others. As they weren't hearing her voice live, it would be fine. If she just played a recording from a speaker, for example.
小型のスピーカーなら家にもあったな。
I've got a small speaker in my house, don't I? That's right. She'd leave Shibuya, and when she had a few more songs, she could record them and play them at a street concert. That speaker was small enough that she could fit it under her clothes to fool people. It would be rude to do the same song every time, so each time she'd re-record it at home. That makes no sense, okay. Who's been knocking? There was a knock at the door. One of the staffers, maybe. Oh,
もう出ますから。
Oh geez, I'm coming. She smiled and answered them. Now that she'd thrown away her clothes, her bag was lighter than she could ever imagine it could be. That lightness made her think about the future. She was happy. But why is this vision coming into my head? Oh, there's knocking still. Momone happily danced toward the door, completely ignorant of what was on the other side. Oh, completely ignorant. This series of knocking again is probably going to lead to another string of murders. September the 19th, 2015, Friday night. Shortly after she finished, she was walking through Shibuya. She had a limp and dragged one leg behind her as if it was injured. Her were unnaturally long. Most of her face was covered by them. I was supposing hair. She wore a dark coloured dress that seemed to melt into the night, and above it, a bright red cardigan. Her chest, arm and legs were almost completely covered. Despite the fact that the night was still warm, she wore gloves. as if it were a sin to show any skin at all. And...
ああ、ごめんなさい。
oh, sorry. She ran into a couple coming out of a hotel and staggered slightly. But she didn't even look at the people she ran into. She looked down and disappeared into the streets of Shibuya. And there was a camera there.
きめえな。
What was that, man? Talk about creepy.
ねえ、今の人の顔見た？
Hey, did you see her face?
あ？だよ。
Why?
気持ち悪い。何あれ？
It was so weird. What was that?
何？あの目。
Those eyes were so weird. Is it the weeping face again? So we got done chapter 1. Digital native. I meant to do that. Where are we now? We're going through different characters. Taruku. This must be the protagonist of the story. But one of the main characters within the story. Let's say you asked a kid in middle school, do you know what Scarongia's cat is? Most would say yes, or I've heard of it. We'll start by eliminating the DQNs, who say they've never heard of it. Next you ask, well, what was it? Next we eliminate those poor fools who say it's something about a cat in a box, right? Or there's this cat, but you didn't know if it's alive or dead, right? Or maybe they say there's a cat in a box, and next to it there's a device that may or may not give off poison gas. You didn't know if the cat's alive or dead till you open the box. Everybody knows that. We can eliminate these show-offs as well. Anybody from these groups is a wrong-sider. The right answer would be to describe the experiment and then say, it was a thought experiment proposed by Scrongia to criticize the quantum mechanical theory that state collapse only occurs after human observation. But barely anyone can do that. And I imagine that I am the only guy who's still in high school who knows that Scrongia got the idea after exchanging letters with Einstein. Scrongia? I hate one-siders. I'd taken a break from investigating the 2 instances that have occurred recently in Shibuya and was paging through some at-channel blog aggregators for a change of pace. As always, articles about bad idols and corporations with terrible work environments were getting tons of hits. It was hard to believe that the crash of 15, a huge news story that had just happened this month, was already off the front pages. Did the people reading and commenting on these sites realize that everything they read about corporations and idols was carefully controlled? Did they know that most of the big aggregator sites are corporations too? Did they realize that the comments were all manipulated to go one direction or another? Basically 100% was 100% biased. Kids our age were living in a world where all the information you could ever want was right at your fingertips. To those of us in the enlightened generation, ignorance was the worst sin. The ignorance was self-righteous, easily manipulated, and eager to push their paper-thin worldview onto others. They were nothing but a nuisance. The worst of the lot were the so-called otaku. I couldn't stand otaku. They were wrong-siders. It's probably just you and then the wrong-siders, which is everyone else in the world. Take the picture on the cover of his magazine. It was for Blood Tune. Any otaku who just watched it for the cute characters was a loser. There was no point in watching the show if you were going to ignore its deeper themes. I couldn't stand people who still held to the old-fashioned idea that only otaku watched anime, but people who ignored a show's themes and just watched it for the cuteness were even worse. They were ignoring the implicit social criticism hidden in...
Nani?
What? The name at the bottom, probably? I stared at a magazine in amazement. Specifically, I stared at a box that listed the next episode's previews. The text said that Irene was missing.
Bakaka!
Idiots! Damn it, I let my guard down because I knew this episode was written by the guy who wrote the original manga. The original author doesn't know anything about his own work. How could you remove Erin from the story halfway through? Not keeping her around may bring all of the internal drama they'd built up so far to a halt. God damn it. So much for my change of pace. I knew I had work to do on the case, but I'd put it away because I couldn't find any link between the two crimes. I thought for a moment, then took my magazine from its secret stash. Okie dokie. It was an issue of an older magazine called Cool Cat Press. People called it a guide for normals written by somebody who'd never dated a girl in his life, but you'd be surprised. Magic words to make any girl fall in... Okay. Stupid. I knew it was stupid. But when I ran an internet search for their #1 phrase, nothing came back. And that was the thing. The fact that it didn't show up on the internet meant to me that it was worth something. I knew this is extraordinarily selfish of me. But I may fall in love with you. With who? Hi. What is the first time we have an interaction with two characters together? Well, what are you doing? I turned my yell at the voice. Huh? Onoe! When did you get here? I hid my favorite magazine behind my back and tried to calm my racing heart. Even if we've known each other since we were kids, just don't come in like that. Nah. I did knock. So what's that magazine? Anything interesting? It's nothing. I couldn't let her find out. This was bad. What's going on? Why are you wearing your school uniform? Didn't you go home? Shurika frowned. You're the one who told me to go investigate the crime scenes for our club today. Sorry. Huh, that's right. Here you go. More pictures from the crime scenes. On a USB flash drive. Memory stick, sorry. Sarika took a USB memory stick out of her purse.
Oh,
thanks. Could you transfer it to my computer for me while you're at it? Sarika looks a little confused. That's rare. You never let anyone touch your computer. Not really. You're allowed. She didn't seem to think much of it as she started to copy the data off. Okay, now's my chance. The RV was cramped, but there was a lot of space for storage. I pretended to make tea as I tried to find room on the top shelf. Okay, there's just enough room for one magazine. And then I heard a soup sound, like a small fart from behind me. I glanced back and saw that Sharika was using the mouse with one hand and fiddling with her gyro floppy, however you want to pronounce it, with the other strap. That was my chance. It's a froggy. The froggy strap was a small vinyl cell phone strap I won in a candy contest when I was a kid. When he pushed its belly, it was supposed to go. Oh, how a frog goes, okay. And it turned out to be an incredibly rare prize that could fetch 100,000 yen at an auction. But since I was a kid who didn't know any better, I gave it to Sarika as a present. Sarika seemed to really like it, and ever since then she carried it with her. Well, that was fine, but he kept making that noise. It was old and faded, and when he pressed its belly, air leaked out of its side and made a weird noise. It used to go grog, I think, but now it just made a strange whooshing sound. It sounds like a dog toy when it keeps munching on a toy that it keeps having for weeks on end, and then the squeak eventually fades away. I think this is this scenario as well. Ever since she was a kid, she had a habit of fiddling with it, especially when she was nervous or focused on something. In other words, she was focused on the computer. Now was my chance to hide it. I jammed the magazine onto the shelf and moved some things so she couldn't see it.
Mountain view でいいか?
Want a mountain view?
いいよ、もったいないじゃん。それにすぐに帰るし。
Nah, don't waste it.
終了。
I'm leaving in a second anyway. Okay, all done. There were quite a few files on the screen, and some that looks like a similar thing in which you would see on a Windows 7 desktop. There we go. Windows XP and Windows 7 are the best at Windows, essentially. You took a lot of pictures. Any luck?
新しい発見はなかったよ。タクは新しい共通点見つかった？
I didn't see anything new. What about you, Taku? Find anything new that connects the two cases?
いや。
No. I shook my head, frustrated.
そっか。まあ気長に行こう。じゃあ明日部室で。
Ah, I see. Well, let's not get frustrated yet. I'll see you in the club room tomorrow. Just as she was about to leave, I got an idea.
あ、尾上。
Oh, Hinae. Sarika, I'm just gonna call her. I needed to double check my information. She was inferior, okay.
さ、例えばなんだけど。
I'm just asking, but...
なんていうか、
Well...
お前が告白されたとしてさ。
Let's just say someone asked you out.
いや、だから例えばこう言われたらどう？誠に勝手なのですが、好きになってもいいですかって。
Just hypothetically, okay? What would you think if they said, I know this is extraordinarily selfish of me, but may I fall in love with you?
さっき言ってたやつ？
Is that what you were just saying?
それはいいから。
Never mind that.
どう？
What do you think? Sarika thought for a second.
年下なの？その人。
Is this person younger than me? Oh golly. And now a trigger is in place.
Eh?
Yeah, I think that's actually a very good time to make a save point, because this probably could be something very, very important to sway the story. Wait, did I actually save there? Let's see. Yep, the screen is there. Huh?
丁寧語だから。
Since they're being so polite, so how do I select the positive or the negative one? That's true. Come to think of it, why was it so polite anyways? No, not auto. I don't want auto.
年下なのか。
Maybe they are.
いや、
mean-
そうじゃなくて、
Never mind that.
どう？
What did you think?
どうって丁寧だなって思うけど、
Well, I think it's really polite, but
告白されたことないからよくわかんない。
nobody's ever asked me out, so I don't know.
他には何か思わないか？こう素敵だなと思ったりしないか？
Anything else like, oh, how romantic?
ん？別に
Not
相
really.
手によるんじゃない？
That'll depend on the person, right? Oh gosh. What's going on here? Cool cat. It would depend on the person asking the question. Of course it would.
あ、そうだ、忘れてた。
Okay, so someone needs to put down the comments below on like how you're able to make a positive trigger happen or a negative trigger happen, because there's nowhere in the controls that stated that. Sarika stretched out her hand.
500円ちょうだい。
Give me 500 yen.
え？
これこれ、忘れてた。
Here, I forgot. She showed me the paper bag she was holding.
さっきそこでゲンさんに会ったの。特にいつものだって言って渡してくれって。特価で500円でいいって立て替えたの。
I just ran into Jen. He gave me this. Said it was your usual. I paid him 500 yen for it.
いつもの？
My usual? Confused, I took the bag from her hand. Jen's usual changed every time I talked to him, so I couldn't count on it. What was it today? Something big? But that drunk old blank?
何？いつものって。
What's your usual?
なんでもない。ほら、
Nothing.
500円。
Yeah, 500 yen. I forced 500 yen into her hands. Ignoring her persistent questions, I led her to the door.
明日学校で。
I'll see you at school tomorrow.
データはありがとう。助かった。
Thanks for the pictures, were a big help.
わかったよ。
Fine. I don't think she took that politely. Reluctantly, she left my room. Phew. Damn it. Sure, this was what I always brought from Jin. But the information in the last one was no good. What the heck was a cool cat anyway? A cold cat? Is it cold because it's dead? 100 ways to secretly show your sexy side.
じゃない。
No. I need to hide. But I had so many of them now, I was running out of room on the top shelf. How many of them? When I tried to force it in, a mountain of old papers came falling out. Damn it, no room, huh? What's this? It was an old scrapbook about the murders that had occurred 6 years ago in Shibuya. I brought it from Jen, too, come to think of it. I'd already scanned it, but I'd forgotten to throw out the original. How could I, of all people, be so lax with information? I just had to bundle it up with the rest of my collection. Huh? My eyes lingered for a second on the page. Come to think of it. I quickly ran over to my PC, and I opened the files in the case I'd been looking for.
マジか。
Seriously? My words were a whisper. I looked back at the scrap paper, then I compared it to the data on the PC. What a coincidence. There was no doubt. I kept looking at it, and it kept saying the same thing. But this, if my hypothesis was right,
きっと警察も気がついてないぞ。
I'm sure even the police haven't noticed. What's all this? I'm not going to try and read all of this, so I'm just going to go through it slowly, and then you guys can pick up on what's being said.
この木はまだ力士シールはごく一部で話題になっているぐらいのものでしかなかった。
So at this point, only a few people were talking about the sumo wrestler stickers.
一体誰が予想できる？こんな気味の悪いシールが後に世界を揺るがす大事件のきっかけになるだなんてこと。
Who could have known that these eerie stickers would mark the beginning of a world-changing event? Is this school now?
んで、これが今月の7日に起きた事件の週刊誌の特集の画像。
And so this is a magazine article about the incident that occurred on the 7th.
7日ってニコニア生放送中の公開自殺か。読んだよ、その記事。
The 7th, the suicide that took place during a stream, right? I read that article.
自殺と決まったわけじゃないけどな。それにネットではこっちみんなって言い方が主流になってきてる。で、これがその生放送の映像。
Yeah, this was the broadcast that we looked at. Right, let me just change my controller quickly. Much better. We don't know for sure that it was suicide though. People on the net are calling it the "Don't Look at Me" case, and here's the video of the broadcast. That's the broadcast that we saw at the beginning of the game with that character. The one that chopped his own arm off.
それも見た。つうか一緒に見ただろう。
I saw that too. Wait, we saw it together.
で、これがその現場の建物。
And
この絵が昨日さらに追加してきた。
And here's the building it took place in. Hinae took some more photos for me yesterday.
それも知ってるって。
I knew that too.
で、これがその部屋の中。
And this is the inside of his room.
は？うっそ！お前撮ったの？いつ？てかどうやって？
Huh? No way. You took this? When? Wait, how? Until then, Eto had been disinterestedly pointing his camera at the colourful decorations in the hallway, but this got his attention. Of course it did. No one else had seen these pictures yet.
先週末な。現場向かいのカラオケボックスの5階の部屋から見えるんだよ。
Last weekend, you can see the room from the 5th floor of the karaoke place on the other side of the street.
マジで？
Shinji. Seriously?
ここ
Here.
この5階から。
Here. This is the 5th floor. You could always count on him to be interested when it comes to new information.
で、何？お前一人で入ったのか？
So, what? You went in by yourself?
は？
Huh?
いや、カラオケボックスに。人から？
I mean, you went to the karaoke place by yourself. For karaoke alone.
仕方ないだろ。別に恥ずかしいことじゃない。それに歌ったわけじゃないから、正確には人からとは言わない。
I didn't have a choice, did I? And it's not embarrassing, and I didn't sing, so it wasn't really karaoke. To be honest, I was a little embarrassed. The guy at the counter, who was probably just a part-timer, had stared at me suspiciously. Maybe I'd attracted his attention by coming in during the middle of the day in my uniform. And since I'd never been there before, he made me fill out membership paperwork. I didn't know how to do it, so it took a long time. And actually, I'd actually never been to a karaoke place before in my life.
よし、ここは OK。次行こうぜ。
Alright, I got these. Let's go to the next one.
めんどくさいな。
This is such a pain. We went over to the gym from the second floor hallway. It was filled with students laughing over who knows what. The whole school was getting ready for the culture festival next week. This year's festival was supposed to be a big one. The Hinae Academy was the first private high school built as part of the restoration efforts, and so it was attracting a lot of attention. One reason why everyone was so excited for the school fair was the school's lax rules, with lots of clubs and activities. But the biggest reason was the Shibuya Peace and Restoration Festival 2 months ago from now. 2 months from now, on November the 9th, would mark 6 years since the Shibuya earthquake. The 5-year anniversary fair last year had affected the whole town, and since the school was in Shibuya too, it would include us. We were just a simple high school, but now our culture festival was being treated as a prelude to the big one, and supposedly there would be TV cameras filming the day of the event.
うわ、あのパチモンの着ぐるみ大丈夫かよ。つかなんで今着てんだ？
Wow, aren't those costumes copyrighted? Can they get away with that? And wait, why are they wearing them now? It too turned his camera towards a group of people pretending to be pro wrestlers. Ito and I were in a newspaper club, and it was our job to record the festivals. Festivities? I've forgotten what it said now actually. Festives. The principal had ordered that all clubs were to participate in the culture festival, and recording the festivals were our way of getting by without having to do much work. Recording videos and taking photos was my hobby, and more than anything, it seemed like the way that would demand I burn the fewest calories. I could see myself participating in any of the usual festival nonsense, like the baseball team's fried baseball ice cream stand, which was probably just regular fried ice cream in a ball, or the pro wrestling research club's mascot pro wrestling, or even the science that the mystery club and fortune telling club were putting on together.
暇なんだろ。
They probably just don't have anything better to do.
ひげを引っ張んなってもげる。
Hey, don't pull my whiskers, you'll rip them off.
はあ、これ触覚じゃないの？
Aren't those antennas?
どう思うよ。触覚だとしたらもいだ方がゆるキャラっぽくないか？
What do you think? If they were antennas, wouldn't you look cute if you ripped them off?
え？何？
What?
私、そのくだらない質問に答えなきゃダメ？
Do I really have to answer such a stupid question?
リア充
God damn Nonos.
死んでしまえ。
Go die in a fire.
おい、
Hey.
リア充をバカにするなよ。僕だって
Don't
リ
make
ア充
fun。of normals. I'm a normal. Huh?
あ、バカ、カメラ。
Hey, you idiot, the camera. He dropped it. That thing's expensive.
おい、
Hey,
どういうことだ？
what do you mean? You're hurting me. Wait, the camera.
裏切ったのか。
Did you
レベ
betray
ル下がっ
me?
たか。いつ彼女なんて作りやがった。
Did you lose a level? When did you get a girlfriend?
あ
Huh?
あ、できてないよ。
Have a
彼女なん
girlfriend.
て。
But
それ
forget
より
about
カメ
that.
ラ。
Pick up the camera.
何？
What? I slipped out of Aito's grasp and picked up the camera. Looks like it's safe. Good. I relaxed and handed the camera back to Aito.
たく。
Sheesh.
しっかりしろよ。僕らはあいつらと違って状況だろ。一石舞踏か。
Sheesh, get hold of yourself. We're not like them. We're right-siders, right? Want me to give you a lecture about it?
いいか。リア充ってのは2005年あたりから使われ出した言葉で、リアル、つまり現実が充実している連中の総称だ。
Listen, the term normal first came into use on the Japanese internet around 2005. It referred to someone whose daily life was fulfilling and satisfying.
最初は対義語としてネト中が挙げられることが多かったけど、その境目はもうほとんどない。 リアルの中にネットが組み込まれてるのが当たり前になったからな。
Originally, the term netizen existed as its autonomy, but that distinction barely exists anymore. That's because the net is now an integral part of everyday life.
当初は友達がいるだけでリア充と呼ばれていたけど、次第に恋人がいることがリア充の条件になっていった。だがこれも変わりつつある。
When it first came into use, simply having friends was enough to qualify one as a normal, but gradually, this requirement shifted into having a lover. But this too is changing.
昨今のリア充は本当の意味で現実が充実しているかどうか、つまりやりたいことができているかどうかで判断されるんだ。そういう意味で僕はリア充だ。
The modern definition of normal is now someone whose life is truly satisfying. That is, someone who's doing what they really want to do. In that sense, I am normal.
だから暇に任せてふざけているあいつらはリア充なんかじゃないんだよ。言葉は正しく使え。
Therefore, the people over there who are screwing around and wasting time aren't normals at all. You need to use words correctly. Just like everyone on other sites like Tumblr loves to usurp words to their own desires. Seriously, he needs to be careful. Just being a one-sider by itself is a sin these days. Yeah, I'm puzzled as well. After I finished my lecture, I saw that Atto was staring at me wordlessly. What, did he not understand it? I walked him through the entire etymology.
宮代
Miasio.
なんだよ。
What?
お前はリア充じゃないよ。
You're not a
言
normal.
葉は正しく使おうな。
Let's use words correctly, okay? Huh?
なぜだ。
Why?
リア充はそんなこと言わ
Normals
ない。
don't talk like that.
は
Wait.
だから
Why?
なんでだ。
And you know,
それに補強するなら
I've got
女子の知り合い
acquaintances
もいるん
who
だ
are
ぞ。
women.
もちろん
Of
男も。
course, men too.
だからリア充はそんなこと言わないんだよ。
I just told you normals don't talk like that.
理由はなんだ。理由はさらに付け加えるならな。
But what's the reason? And may I also add? I quickly swallowed my words.
ファッションの勉強だってしているんだ。
I'm studying fashion too. I'd read the new issue of Cool Cat before I put it away. There was an article in it called Fashion Leader. I'm going to try and pronounce that word. I thought it looked pretty good. If I could wear that stuff, I'm sure.
ん？なんだよ。
What?
なんでもない。
Nothing.
とにかく
I'm
僕は
telling
な
you, I'm
ああ、わかったって。
sure, whatever.
次行こうぜ。
Let's go. As he walked away, I turned my eyes towards the group of mascot pro wrestlers.
わかった。じゃあもう全員で同じ着ぐるみにしようぜ。
Alright then, we're all wearing the same outfit?
ああ、戦隊もの風だ。色分けしようよ。私イエロー。
Like Sentai Rangers. We can split the colors up. I'll be yellow.
その方が受け取れるか。
The others
でも
would
予算
love it.
は
But do we have that budget?
あんたの小遣いがあるじゃん。
We've got your allowance, right?
バカじゃないの。
Shove it.
それか体に直接塗るか受け取れればいいんでしょ。
Or we could paint the colors onto our bodies. It just has to get laughs, right? Laughs?
こっちは忙しいんだ。
I'm busy.
おかえりなさいませ、ご主人様ケロン。
Welcome back, Master. Kieran?
可愛くなくね。もうちょっとどうにかなんね。
It's not very cute, is it? Can we fix that?
可愛くないとか言うな。てか別にウェイトレスって女子限定じゃなくてもいいじゃん。男子もやんなよ。
Don't say that it's not cute. And wait, it's not fair that only the girls are waitresses. The boys should be waitresses too.
ゲロカエルンってあんな語尾で喋るキャラクターだったっけ？
Did Froggy really talk like that? Aito had just finished recording the goings-on in the classroom.
どうでもいいよ。
It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, view. Actually, we'll do another save point for each trigger that happens. Because I believe that's a very good idea. This was class 3-1, Atto's and my class. Most of the class was busy with the Froggy Cafe we were doing for the festival. Some people were ignoring the fuss and studying. Some of the otaku were reading light novels. Did they really think that if they left the paper cover from the bookshelf on it, we couldn't tell if it was a light novel? They were just trying their best to stay out of the way. Most people were happily making froggy decorations, or putting on froggy costumes and messing around. All the clubs had to participate in the festival, but so did all the classes. No one had told me, but evidently several months ago we decided to do a froggy themed cafe.
はっかゲロカエルの声は女じゃん。
You dummy, Froggy has a girl's voice.
いやそうだけどさ、そこは文化祭のノリ的なあれでいいじゃん別に。
Well, sure, but it's just a culture festival. We're allowed to change it. Shut up. Do not mess with the culture.
違うって。
That's what I'm thinking. That's wrong.
Huh?
Atto tilted his head in confusion and decided to get back on topic. I took out my poker cam and showed it to Ito. What the
こ
hell
れが
is
今月の
this?
19日の事件の画像。
So here's the images from the 19th of this month.
音漏れたんか。どれ？
Leaky noise. Let me
こ
see.
れはまだ見てないな。
I haven't seen
どこで
this
拾っ
one
た？
before. Where'd you get it?
事件のまとめウィキに一瞬な。消される前に魚拓取った。
It showed up for an instant on an aggregator wiki. I scrapped it before it got deleted.
ああ、こっちの方がアングルいいな。なあ、さっきのカラオケのやつと合わせてニヤ道にアップさせてくれよ。
This one's got a nicer angle, right? Hey, let me up this to whoever they are, along with the stuff you took from the karaoke box.
もう新聞部のオンラインストレージに上げてある。見やすいように加工して使ってくれ。
I've already upped it to the newspaper's club's online storage. Make some adjustments so it's easier to see, then do what you want with it.
なんか最近再生数がいまいち伸びないんだよな。この前俺一人で作った動画のタグにもカメラ仕事しろとかアングル大体合ってないとか書かれるし。
Views have been kind of bad lately. The last video I upped got tagged with "Cameraman, do your damn job," and this angle sucks. Ito looked really upset. Why did he look upset? Well, I knew how he felt. The Hikiho Academy newspaper club had been the first in the nation to upload a video version of the school paper to that. Our papers dealt with anything involving Shibuya. We'd done a special for Shibuya's restoration once that a local paper had written about. We won a special prize at the city's journalism contest, and the video got over 80,000 views despite being boring as hell. After that though, I could understand that being upset about the fact that new videos' dealings with goings on in Shibuya weren't breaking 2 digits.
ああ、カメラ仕事しろのタグをつけたのは僕だ。
Oh, I was one who put that cameraman do your damn job tag on. The angle was crap, man.
じゃーん、ゲットしてきた。
Ta-da! Got it!
おお、オリジナルじゃん。
And it's original!
疲れた。
I'm so tired. A boyfriend and girlfriend walked in, evidently back from shopping. Their arms were full of froggy stuffed animals. I didn't mean to hide the text
だか
there.
ら違うって。
I told you, that's wrong.
は？
Huh?
いえ、だから何がだよ。
What's wrong? Ito hadn't noticed then. I looked at my classmates who were already beginning to play with their new toys, as said.
前も話したことあったろ。大半の中高生は日頃アクセスしてるサイトで情報レベルが知れるって。
I've told you this before, right? You can tell your average teenager's information level by knowing what sites they go to. This was a personal theory of mine. Smartphones and poker cams have become a religion to the modern teenager, and the information they gained from those portable terminals had a huge influence on their lives. Some people only looked at snazzies like Twitter, Rain and FaceMock. FaceMock is a mockery in this day and age. Twitter, I love that. Sneeze and Rain, other than known as the ever-sinking Vine, others are Atkan and that. Some looked at all those as well as the links they found here. What's the next one going to be called? You boob? And then someone looked at all those things as well as their favourite celebrity blogs, the big Atchan aggregators, and then whatever human site was popular at the moment. All of those people were wrong-siders, and the scary thing was that these days 9 out of 10 wrong-siders were teenagers. Okay, Froggy launched 6 years ago with a cell phone strap that had gotten popular for reasons no one ever understood. Okay, so this is the point where I am going to stop my preview of Chaos Child. All I can say is that I'm not sure how the story is going to progress from here. I think you have to find that out for yourselves if you're playing a game for yourself. I think at some point the game is going to take it into a very murderous term where a lot of main characters are going to get into serious struggle to survive. But I'm not sure if, like Steins itself, this game is going to have multiple endings. I imagine that no doubt it's going to have multiple endings, or it's just going to be a singular path. But yeah, as I said at the beginning, I had a reason as to why this has been out a week later than what I wanted to release it, which was on the 14th rather than the 21st of October 2017. I ordered this game from Rise Digital, and for some apparent reason they decided that it would be better to give me the game a week later. Well, I was going to say give the game, but deliver the game to me a week later than its bloody release date. So not only did I have this game a week later than everybody else in Europe, but also due to the fact that I tried multiple times to tweet at them, to email them, but their customer service was no good. Like, they didn't even respond to anything nice. So in the end I had to actually tell them that if I don't get a response within the next 24 hours, I would actually call Funstock, which was actually the company that kind of like did all the financial stuff for this sort of thing. But I would like a full refund on my purchase of the pre-order that I made of this game on the day that Chaos Child was available to pre-order in Europe. So that was why this game was a week late, because the company that I ordered this game from couldn't be bloody bothered to even contact me back, explain why the game is a week late. So there we go. And then there was everybody else in the UK and in Europe having fun with this game, while I'm still here seeing tweets about this game being retweeted by PQube and all that. So that will be the first and last time that I will be pre-ordering from Rise Digital, and if there's anybody who is watching this video from Rise Digital, I'm very sorry, but I won't be shopping from you again. But anyways, hope you all enjoyed this session of Chaos Child. This is my preview video of this game. Hope you enjoyed this experience as much as I have, and I'm going to explore the rest of this game on my own without the need of actually talking to a bloody microphone for this case, because this will actually go a lot quicker if I'm not actually doing that. So thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it as much as I have, and see each other's within the next visual novel preview that I'm going to be doing, which is, well, I have actually absolutely no idea. But thank you very much for watching, folks, and take care of yourselves.